What's up everyone, Crow Space Boy here. It's time for another episode of Electric Wind God Vids, and today we are finally venturing into the world of character counter strategies, and we're going to start with one of the perceived top tiers of this game, Leo. More specifically, Leo's back 1-4 and the ensuing transition into K&K stance. So first off, what is this move? Why is it wrecking your life? Back 1-4 is a 18 frame mid. The second mid is a knee, so most characters can't parry it, and it's +8 on block, and it leads into a stance transition. So if you block it, you are at really significant disadvantage to the point where K&K2 will actually counter hit you if you press any buttons. So it's pretty good. Pretty good string. You would be forgiven if the first time you encountered it you looked at this and said, I hate this move, and I don't want to deal with it. But it's not invincible, it's not undefeatable. Let's break it down and see what we can do about it. First, before we actually talk about anything in regards to the stance transitions, let's talk about its range. It does have very good range, especially for the speed class that it's at, but it's not the best range in the game. It goes around 2 character lengths or so in distance. You can bait this move out if you hover around mid-range or so and they throw out back 1 and it whiffs. That's a free launcher for you. It doesn't even matter if they decide to go into the stance or not. So that's something to keep in mind from just a neutral standpoint. But at some point you're going to have to block it. When we're talking about blocking it and dealing with the mix-up afterwards, it's important to break this move down into 2 separate segments. Segment number 1 is just the gap between back 1 and back 4. The reason why it's important to look at it in this way is because depending upon what character you play, you can actually shut this move down right here. Because everyone in the game steps at a different rate, there are some characters that can step in between the gap between back 1 and 4, and the move actually becomes invalid at that point, because it doesn't matter. Like, they have gone into stance, and by that point, you were already launching them. It's also important to know that there are some characters that cannot step in between back 1 and 4, but may have an option that gets them out of the way of the knee itself. Jin is a great example of this. He is a character that cannot step between the gap, but his stance transition completely makes the knee whiff and gives him a free punish. It's to the point where it's really easy for the Jin player to look at the animation and confirm on reaction whether or not it was just back 1 or if it was back 1-4. And on that subject, it is worth noting that maybe your more advanced Leo players will try to just throw out back 1 if they think that you're aware enough to do something about back 1-4. If they start doing that, it's pretty reasonable to say that they've lost momentum at that point, because back 1's pretty laggy. It's actually on its own -12 on block, so you could sidestep and then just like jab and you're still at frame advantage. Now for everyone else in the game that can't sidestep between back 1-4, you have to deal with the K&K mix-up afterwards, and that really boils down to optimally K&K2 or K&K hop kick, and arguably K&K4, but we'll talk about that in a second. K&K2 is a safe high that counter hits and leads to a combo if you press any buttons. So you could crouch jab and it will beat the high, it'll beat the K&K low, but the K&K hop kick will hit you out of it. Technically they can crouch dash from stance and block it, but this input's very difficult. I would only expect like the very best Leo players to consistently do this. If you're forced to deal with the entirety of the back 1-4 string on block, it's a little rough for you. You may need to look into some of your character's other options and see if you have anything that gets you out of this mix-up. Kuma is a really funny example of this, and what is easily one of the coolest and weirdest things I have ever seen in Tekken. Kuma has a option select duck timing that makes the high and the low with him because of his very cool his very good hurt box. I could not say that with a straight face. But yeah, it makes the low and the high whiff, and then if you immediately return back, you can block the mid because, I mean, they all have different timings. At that point, this move becomes a lot better for Leo if you're forced to deal with the K and K transitions. So really that just means you're going to have to look at your options, look at the habits of the Leo player, and try your best to make an intelligent decision. And that's it. I hope this has helped you break down back 1-4 so that you're not nearly as afraid of it as you may have been the first time you encountered it. Are there other characters that you have trouble with? Are there other moves that are giving you problems? Let me know, because that's what we're here for. We are here to make the most intelligent decisions that we can with every problem that arises in the world of Tekken. And that's what we'll be doing next week. See you later.